Hello, welcome to the African Institute of Leadership and Governance. Once again, it's a brand new day and it's a good morning this day. I don't know where you are catching me from, and I don't know where you are tuned in from this morning. Well, I'm not going to take so long. It's the second day of the month of August, and we have been preparing for a great leadership training that is starting tonight or today. Specifically, it's a workshop that we are going to look at agility and leadership agility, how leadership has evolved over the years and how leadership has been changing. So at this particular time, we are looking forward to have you in the session. A quick announcement to those of you that have very little information about the African Institute of Leadership and Governance. The African Institute of Leadership and Governance, it's an organization or an institute that focuses on developing African leaders and finding African solutions, on saying how can we, the African people, govern ourselves and how can Africa be governed well. So therefore, we have realized that there are a lot of issues that we need to be dealing with at the moment, and that is the reason why we are calling on these workshops, conferences, courses, and trainings, not because of anything. So we are a team of leaders, academics, or academias, and we have a lot of people, skilled people from different universities, and we have come together and we also collaborate with existing institutions of higher learning. So that is the main purpose why the African Institute exists. And I want you to know that at this particular time, you need to consider, you need to consider being part of this, because you cannot just govern or lead accidentally. I have always said that every success is intentional. Every success is intentional. So, welcome once again to the African Institute of Leadership and Governance, our online class tonight. I want to welcome you to this great time. So, I'm not going to waste much of your time today. I'm not going to spend a lot of time, but I just came to announce those things. But before I go, I want to look at leadership versus corruption, or corruption versus leadership. But let me say this: leadership versus corruption. The word, I remember not too long ago, one of the leaders um, making a statement on the media. He says, when you follow the way the media talks about corruption and how journalists talks about corruption, you can even begin to believe that this word exists. I laughed, you know. He says you can even begin to believe that as if corruption is an animal, or as if corruption is something that exists. That's how casual our leaders take the fight against corruption now. The word corrupt simply means to erode. The word corrupt simply means to erode, um, or to degenerate, to degenerate. So, when we look at where the issues of corruption are, most of us, we refer to it only when we talk about corruption in line with political power. When we talk about corruption, we refer to it mostly in line with those that govern us, or something like that. But really, it doesn't begin from there. Corruption simply means a moral decay. It's a moral decay. Now, when we look at moral decay, in what line are we talking about? In what line are we talking about? How has the continent decayed morally? What morals and values are we talking about as African people? I want us to understand that before our leaders get into governance, or before our leaders get into government, they already go in there with a mind that is already corrupted. They already go into it with the mind is already corrupted. So we need to look at the motive why most of our leaders seeks public office, for example. Most of our leaders seeks public office. Why do our leaders seek public office? 70% of the people that I've spoken to, as you know, some of you, you may be aware, myself as well, I've worked with a lot of leaders for a number of years, and I'm getting to almost 20 years or so working with leaders, from different spheres. I'm talking about leadership from all angles that I've worked with. And one of the specific areas that I've discovered is that the area of corruption has to do with the ethos, the ethics of leadership, the ethics of leadership, issues of integrity. We need to look at issues of understanding the value of their office. Also, issues of power, because it is from there that we have leaders who gets corrupted. Now, to corrupt, there are a lot of things that we need to know. One of the things that corrupts our leaders is power. Power corrupts. And once power gets into their mind, I can promise you, you are likely to have a leader who's going to be out there for himself, and he's not going to speak for the people. We are likely to have leaders who are going to focus on their personal needs rather than the needs of their people that put them in the office. So it is very important for you and I to realize that the issues of corruption has to do with a lot to do with ethics than even what we talk about. Let me say this. So understanding the office that you operate in, what are the do's and the don'ts? What are the areas that you have to focus in and not to focus? Because if you don't have a specific definition of the boundaries and the borders, how far you can go, let's say, corruption can be named in many areas, in line with family, nepotism, in line with working with regionalism, in line working with religionalism. So you have to also appreciate all those things that they can lead to corruption. Tribalism, they can lead to corruption. Afrophobia, they can lead to corruption. Xenophobia, they can lead to corruption. Wherever you're going to have a crowd of people, management systems ought to be properly set. Wherever you're going to have a crowd of people, management systems ought to be set. And that is the reason why I want you to understand as a leader that you must know how to fight corruption. Now, let me begin to say this. There is what we call fighting corruption at the micro level and fighting corruption at a macro level. When I say a micro level, let's start from the unit of your family, the family unit. What are the parameters? How do you deal with issues of children coming and they need favors? How do you work with issues of favors? So we can move from the family, which is a micro level, we can still take it to a community level. It can be a micro level. Then we can move it from a micro level to a community level, to a constituency level, to a national level, which gets to a macro level. Now, you begin to deal with issues of budgeting. That's where we find issues of corruption begin to be emphasized when money now is talked about in large volumes. And when we start speaking about large volumes of money and we start talking about a big chunk of donor funding, we start talking about aid, we start talking about different things, then we are going to see how our leaders gullible they become. Why Africa is considered to be poor today, I've always said it's not because that we lack resources, but why Africa is poor, it's because one of the pandemics that we need to find a vaccine for it urgently is the pandemic of corruption. Corruption has eaten our continent. Corruption is to the core of every society in the continent. And the only the only way we can fight this thing is when we begin to elect and bringing people in power leaders who understand ethics, leaders who respect the rule of law, leaders who respect the citizenry, leaders who understand the separation of powers. So we need to always have that at the back of the mind and begin to say, this is what we need to do. This is how we can do it. So, guys, I thought of just coming to you this morning and remind you that the agility training for leaders is on tonight at 8 p.m. It's not going to be on social media. No. So there are numbers on the screen. Can you quickly send us a WhatsApp text message, WhatsApp text? Send us a WhatsApp text message to give us your name and the country where you are for you to be given a password to link in. I want to say thank you to the University of KwaZulu-Natal. Thank you for the leaders that works with us. Thank you for different leaders that have been part and parcel of the African Institute of Leadership and Governance. I am so glad that tonight we are having a great time. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. I'll see you in the evening. Bye-bye. Thank you, guys. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your day. Bye.